with this. Now this is a little tea light shade. I don't know if it's going to show up very well. If I tilt it to the overhead camera so it would sit with a little tea light flashing away underneath like that. Okay, so we're going to look at how to make this. Now, it's quite simple to make, but I like to make things a little bit more tricky. So we're going to make the background, the card that we've actually cut this out of, this beautiful motley effect. So we are going to use Pixie Sparkles. So I have a piece of stamping card, and you do need an A4 sheet because you need to cut 3 of the die pieces, and each one will take up about an A6 part. So we are going to start by we're going to use red oxide, and we're going to use this pale blush. Now this pale blush doesn't have, if you look at the bottom, you can see all the pigment in this one. This one doesn't have as much pigment in it, but it still adds a beautiful little subtle tone. So we are going to get sprinkling. So it's already all over my craft mat. Here we go. So I'm going to start with the pale blush, and it is really tricky to see. As I said, it doesn't have as much pigment in. You'll see what I mean in a moment when I put some of the red oxide on, because you'll see the pigment particles in this show up straight away. There you go, straight away. You can see the red pigment in that Pixie Sparkles. Whereas in fact, before I put too much on, I'm going to spray this just so you can see what I mean about the blush. Can you see? It's a very, very subtle little pink hint, and I really like that. It gets a little bit overwhelmed by the red, but not too much. You know it's there, and it adds a little bit to it. So the red is pretty good. I like the red. It's very rich, deep red, very vintage kind of red. So I'm not going to do too much because I'm not going to actually use this one because I prefer to allow my backgrounds to dry. But here we go. Here we go with spray. And as you spray, you can see that the pigment activates. So you get the colour. The more water, the more it's going to run. But also you need to make sure that you have sprayed it all, because the glitter also is kind of then bound in. And I've been putting so much Pixie Sparkles on and then not spraying enough, and then I'm getting glitter everywhere. Everything in my craft room is currently glitterified. I don't think that's a word. Glitterified. Okay. So you don't need, because I've gone for a very kind of mottled effect on this, you don't need to cover the whole piece of paper. So the other thing I like about these Pixie Sparkles is they have a combination of colours. So you can see the red, but you can also see these lovely dark purpley bits. I can see a bit there I've not sprayed. Okay, I'm gonna cease and desist from spraying anymore, and I'm gonna put this one down to dry. And I'm just going to use a piece of rice paper just to mop up, just so I don't waste the ink and the sparkles. Use another time. Okay, so I have already got my bits done here. So I've cut my background. You can see I got quite heavy-handed with all of it, the Pixie Sparkles, the water and everything. So you need three of these, and what we are using, would have helped if I'd have told you this right at the beginning, is this lovely little die. It's Amy Designs. It's the history of Christmas still. It's called a lacy Christmas tree. Okay, and it's kind of like the sort of die you'd use usually like on the edge of a card, but a nice sort of different shape edge of the card. But I wanted to do something different with it than just a normal sort of edger. Now I can see I've got a couple of little bits left in from when I used it before, so I'm just going to pop those out. Okay, so we need 3 of these, and all I have done is I've placed the edge of that die up to the edge of the paper, and then I have, oh, there it is, taped it down because we don't want it to slip and slide. And then I'm going to run that through the Gemini. So, Gemini, I need my base plate. No, my cutting plate. There we go. Plastic shim, magnetic shim, and top plate. I'm going to pass that through. Now we do need 3 of these, but you know, when you've seen me cut one, you really need to see me cut 3. So I do already have 2. Escaping 2 cut out. Okay, dokie. So here's our 3rd one. You can see how well that's already cut through. It will probably take more time to clean the die than actually worry about the die cut. So as you say, you can see it's an edgeable, not an edgeable, but an edging die, a border die, and it will just very nicely, very carefully just pop out. Okay, all right. Now I'm not going to clean the die now, but that's quite easy to clean with your brush and then poke the last few bits out. So here we have our 3 pieces for our little tea light shade. Now we need, first of all, we need to score them, scoreboard out, and we just need to score. I always do this. I tend to put my thing in the groove and move it down because I need to then line it up. So I know that I'm on the 7-inch line here. So I line up this end, and then I can also line up this end at the bottom. It's easier to do that. So then I'm just going to literally score down there. Oops, I might have gone over a little bit too far on that one. Yeah, because I'm hitting the start. So just move it slightly. There we go. So I've scored that, and I need to score the other 2 pieces. They're hiding underneath my ruler. Okay, so here we go. So that is a 7-inch line. Try not to hit the star this time. And then up. There we go. That's 2 bits. And then 3rd bit. Same again. Oh, you need to score the bit you've already scored. You need the other bit. There we go. That bit there. And off we go. Oops. There we go. So I have the 3 pieces scored. I'll board away. So the 3 pieces are cut and scored. And then we're just going to, now they don't fold because of it's so lacy here. You do need to be careful as you're folding them over. So tease it over before you then use your paper creaser. Same with this, particularly this end. Tease it over. Okay, and then the last one, I'm just going to tease that over. Well, so there we go. Now, the idea is then we fit these together, but as you can see, if I try to do this, there's too much card here. So what I've been doing is I've been lining this up. So I know this is where I'm going to stick this piece. And then this is the piece I need to cut off here. Okay. I know that I need to chop that bit off, and then this will stick quite nicely. Now I'm not going to get the paper trimmer out for that. I am just going to, because this is going to be hidden behind, I am just going to chop that off. This one will now stick nicely there, and I can see there's a little bit that's got left in the die there. Circle. Okay, so I'm going to stick that because otherwise, if I found that if I don't start sticking things down, I end up trying to stick the wrong bit on the wrong side. So the other thing I also did was to give myself like a bit of a line down there, so I know that I only need to put glue on bits up here. Okay, so I'm going to make sure I glue in up near the fold, and then just on little bits in there that are going to be sticking to this part. So I'm going to lie this on top. Okay, and before I press it, I'm just going to lift it up and just check if I've got it where I want it. And that looks pretty good. So I'm going to press that down. Okay, so I'm going to do the same with the next one. I'm going to take my bit of card and work out where I need to stick this. And just like before, I'm then going to draw my line up here. I'm going to cut off with a pair of scissors. I'm going to put it back on. And then I'm going to draw my line so I don't need to put any glue past that line. Again, dotting with my glue. It doesn't need to be completely covered by glue as long as you've got fair few contact points all the way around the bit that you're sticking. So I'm going to bring that up, place it. I'm going to take it up and just check it. Okay, all right. Now, I have made a mistake there. Not a mistake, something I should have done before I stuck that bit down, and that was to have cut this bit, to have measured this bit and cut it. So I'm going to have to kind of do it by eye based on what I did with the others. Probably about there. Yeah, that looks like it will work. But if you measure that last bit first before you stick, it makes it a little bit easier. And again, I'm just going to have to go by eye roughly where I think the glue is going to need to go on this. Right, down there. Okay. And then now I've found to help this stick, I've been putting my very long foam folder up in so that you can get some pressure from within as well as from the top. Because when you're dealing with three-dimensional things, it's not always that easy to get that purchased. And there is your little tea light cover. Put tea light underneath. Obviously not a real one because that would be quite dangerous. But yeah, I think nice little to have on your sideboard at Christmas. So just a different use for that die rather than just using it to edge your card.